Do you see person's soul, or do you have any visions, or is it just coming as an information?
It depends on the person. It depends. So what generally happens is it's almost like they come and sit with me, or I spend some time with them. And so I see them very clearly on a number of different levels. So it's kind of like I'll see the physical self, the soul, the projected self, the projected mind self, the fears, the desires, sometimes some past lives, sometimes some future, sometimes links with other people. And generally what will happen is the soul will then speak to me. So I'll hear and see the soul desires, the reason for incarnating, the manifestations of certain things, the separation between the soul and the person, which is often there. So if the person, for example, is feeling really lost or directionless or in any way depressed or down or whatever it is, it's often because the soul has left the body or is not fully in the body, or they have rejected the soul or they pushed it away. So sometimes in that situation, I would see what the soul and hear what the soul says and what the body says and what the mind says. And then it's kind of almost like bringing it all into a point of union. And again, this is not me saying, so it's kind of, it's whatever soul says kind of comes through me. And often there's something around, and again, this is not soul purpose, because I don't believe the soul necessarily has a purpose for being here, but the human usually has a purpose that they want to have. So it's kind of translating that in a way that they will see it or accept it as soul purpose, even though it's not really soul purpose, if that makes sense, and that the soul's wider purpose, I'll sometimes speak of, depending on how open they are. But if they're very, very closed against it, they will dismiss it. And I think that the learning that I'm at the moment is finding a way of, like Karatima keeps telling me, walking across that bridge of compassion to meet them where they are, instead of saying, this is what your soul's saying. And it's completely different. The entire image you have of yourself, it's needing to meld the two. And so, for example, one woman I did a soul reading for, her soul was basically screaming out in pain because she was ignoring it completely, which meant that her body was in constant fight or flight mode. And she had so much adrenaline running through, it was really painful. But her mind was telling her that she was a very spiritual person and she was very tuned into earth energy, which was an illusion that her mind was telling her. So I tried to say, your body's a bit in fight or flight, maybe you need to give it more care, and your soul wants to help embrace you. And she completely rejected that and told me I was a liar to my face, because she didn't want to see herself that way. So I need to learn how to say it in a more way that they can receive, or a more receptive way. But then other people, for example, I did a soul reading for somebody who's very, very open, and it was just, this person just needed a reminder that her soul loves her, and that I needed just to point out the beautiful things about her and her soul, where they were one. Because sometimes the soul will be separate and the person will be here, but when they are connected, it's kind of like a bleeding into each other, but sometimes the person forgets. So often it's a reminding the person of what the soul wants them to know. And that one, she was so open, receptive, it was very beautiful. So very much it varies. But yeah, it's definitely a seeing and hearing and seeing layers. There's always many, many layers. And I think my thing, I guess, with the person who really had issue with me, I think partly it was, like Aratima said, me wanting to impart information that I saw rather than thinking about them as a person. So it was kind of, well, your soul's saying this, so I need to tell you this. Whereas what I think I should have done, or I feel I should have done in that situation, is to go, yeah, see the person where they are, acknowledge them for where they are, and just put the energy instead of the words in, so allow the soul to speak in energy, and in words say something completely different that they could accept. But I was kind of a little bit I think I've changed now a bit, things evolve, but at the time, because it was about a year ago, I was very stuck in, this is true, and if it's true, it must be said exactly as truth, whereas now it's like, well, truth has many forms. So yeah, it's all a learning curve. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can see what you're saying about holding the energy of the truth of it, but maybe saying the words in a slightly different way.
Yeah.